This video is about order of operations, and while many of you have heard of this before, I want to clear up a few things that might cause issues down the line this year if you're not careful. Not to say that your other teachers taught it wrong or anything, but there's some clarifications that every year people have, and I just want to make sure you don't have them. So, first off, PEMDAS. I'm pretty sure everyone's heard of that. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and that's how you were taught it, and that's how you went through school, however long ago it was you learned it. But I just want to clarify one thing before we get going. When you think PEMDAS, and that's fine, I do want you to have some way to remember this, and that's fine, PEMDAS will work. But you need to know that the M and the D go together, and then the A and the S go together. All right. And what I mean by that is, not only can you say PEMDAS, you need to also realize that you could have PEDMAS, or you could even have something like this. You could have PEMDSA. Maybe you switch the last two. So what I need you to know is that these two are grouped together because they are inverses of each other, which means you do whatever comes first, left to right. And then same thing with the A and the S, the addition, subtraction. They're inverses of each other. So whatever you see comes first, left to right, is what you do. So just because your teacher told you, oh look, PEMDAS, remember it this way, does not mean that always the M comes before the D and the A comes before the S. It is not always true. All right. So, for instance, really quick, an example. If I were to give you like 2 plus 3 minus 1, a lot of y'all would do the 2 plus the 3 first, get 5, minus 1, get 4, which is cool. All right, but if you look over here, if we do 5 minus 3 plus 1, a lot of y'all would go over here based on order of operations. You see AS, and you're going to say, oh, I've got to jump to addition first and do this. So that would really be 5 minus 2, because negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2, and then do this, which would be 3. Alright, now honestly with addition subtraction it's about the same. It's not going to change much, but you need to be careful, because if you notice here, if you do 5 minus 3 first, you're going to get 2. 2 plus 1 is still 3, which is what we got. But in certain cases with subtraction, if you do 3 minus 1, for instance, that's 2, but 1 minus 3 is not 2. Alright, it's negative 2. So you've got to be careful with the order that you're going in. So, parentheses, the note here I need you to know. You know what parentheses look like. They look like this. Alright, and maybe there's 2 numbers inside of them, and maybe something outside. But when we say parentheses, I need you to now know that this is about grouping too. It's not just only if you see parentheses, it's grouping symbols. So any symbol that is telling you something is being grouped. So for instance, you can use brackets to group. You can have curly braces to group. You can have parentheses like we've talked about. Alright, so any of these really are valid. So in a problem, you don't always necessarily need to see parentheses like we're used to. You could see brackets. So maybe I have 2 bracket 3 minus 1 bracket minus 7. That's still parentheses technically if you're going with PEMDAS. That's your grouping. So instead of the P, maybe think about the P as grouping. Alright, things that are grouped together. Alright, the next thing, exponents, we're all familiar with that. So if I say like 2 plus 3 squared, well, 2 plus 3, since that's inside our grouping symbols, we would do that first. So that would be 5 squared, and then hopefully you know what an exponent is. It's like repeated multiplication. So 5 squared is actually 5 times 5, which is 25. So pretty simple concept you've learned before. So exponents, not going to go too far into those. You should know how to use those at this point. Now here's where we were talking about the clarification, multiplication, division. You need to know again that these can go vice versa. Right? The order is not always MD. It could be D and then M. So it's whatever comes first, left to right. And I already gave you an example, but here's another one. So let's say we've got 2 parentheses 3 plus 1, let's say, divided by 2. So first thing you look for is the parentheses, which we see. So we're going to do that first. So 3 plus 1 is 4 divided by 2. All right, now we've taken care of that because now parentheses really turn into a multiplication symbol right here. We've got 2 times 4 divided by 2. Most of y'all would first go and say, oh, look, M then D, multiplication division. You do the 2 times 4 first on the left and then divide by 2. Technically speaking, that is correct in this case because that's what comes first, left or right. All right, but now if the division symbol had been over here instead and it looked like this, you would need to do the division first even though it's on the left because it's whatever comes left or right first. So you have to pay attention to the order. That's going to be the same thing with addition and subtraction. If you have 2 plus 3 minus 4, or you have 2 minus 3 plus 4, it's really whatever comes first, left or right, that you want to do. All right, so left or right on this first one, addition comes first, so we would do the addition. Left or right on this one, the subtraction comes first, so we would do that first. So here's an example. So hopefully you're seeing we have a lot going on here. We've got parentheses, we have exponents, we have addition, we have subtraction, we have division, and we have multiplication. So first things first, if you're going with PEMDAS, all right, which is cool, like I said, that's going to be helpful. You want to go do your simplification inside your parentheses first. So here we go. So we're going to have 2 parentheses. 3 minus 5 is negative 2 squared divided by 2 minus 4. Next stop on your PEMDAS, now that we've knocked out the P, is going to be the exponents, which we do have. So we're going to take care of those. 2 is going to hang along for the ride for a minute. Negative 2 squared, that's negative 2 times negative 2, is a positive 4 divided by 2 minus 4. So we took care of our exponents. No more exponents. Now, remember, multiplication division doesn't necessarily have to go in that order unless it does in the problem. So here, if you look, you've got 2 times 4 divided by 2 minus 4. So left to right, multiplication does come first. So we're going to do that first. So 2 times 4 is 8. Then divided by 2 minus 4. Notice I'm not taking multiple steps at once. I'm going step by step. So don't get confused. So now we've done our multiplication. There's no more in the problem. If we have division, that's what comes next, which we do. We have 8 divided by 4. Right, divided by 2, which is 4. 4 minus 4 now. So we've knocked off division. We have no addition, so we have subtraction. Well, 4 minus 4 is 0. So the answer here would be 0. So I need you to take step by step to remember how to do this. Don't skip steps unless you are really confident that you're getting it correct. All right, so we're going to practice some. So I want you at this point to write down these next few problems and pause the video. And then when you're ready to check your answers, hit unpause and play it, and the answers will be on the next screen. So let's write some problems out. Alright, so there's your practice problems. And I want you to pause, like I said, before you go to the answers and try these. So hit pause on your video, come back in just a few seconds when you're done or whenever you're ready, and go to the next page with me as you are checking your answers. So hit pause right now. Alright, here's your answers. So hopefully you got these. So number 1, your answer was 26. Number 2, your answer was 1. And we'll go over that one in a minute because I think that's the one that probably hung you up if you got one wrong. And number 3, your answer is negative 18. Alright, so on number 2, let's just do that one real quick because I think, like I said, that's probably the one that got you. So number 2 said 1 minus 1 times 0 minus 1 plus 1. And probably you've seen this on Facebook and other social media sites. They always put these type of problems out there because they know that people get tripped up on these, even though they're super, super easy problems or meant to be. So where most of y'all went wrong, probably, I'm guessing, is that you did the 1 minus 1 first on the left. Order of operations does not say you can do subtraction before multiplication. So if you look through this problem, while there is only 1, there is a multiplication in this problem. So we've got to do that one first because there was no parentheses, there was no exponents. So then we've got to consider multiplication division. So we really needed to start here in the middle of the problem. So 1 times 0 is 0. So we're just going to bring everything else down. So we have 1 minus 0 now, minus 1 plus 1. Now, you've gotten rid of parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, so now you can talk about addition, subtraction, left to right. Remember, we're going left to right, no matter what comes first. All right, so even though PEMDAS says addition first, addition's all the way at the back, so we're going to start with subtraction on the left. So we're going to go here next. 1 minus 0 is 1. Drag everything else down. And again, left to right, so we're going to do 1 minus 1, which is 0. Drag everything else down. And then 0 plus 1 is 1. That's where the answer came from. So like I said, I think many of you, if you got this wrong, you started here and not where you should have. Alright, if you have questions about the others, feel free to ask me, but until next time, keep practicing.